First of all, you cannot generalize about the black community anymore than any other people. We're not monolithic. We have difference in education, difference in income, and when it's convenient, we generalize the black community, and we use the demographics of those who are living in the most troubling situations. We use the demographics of incarceration, of low income, housing. We use that demographic information to make a case that all blacks are suffering.
Okay.
And then when the money arrives, it goes not to the people suffering the problem, but those who are providing service. For instance, in the last 50 years, the government has spent $22 trillion on programs to aid the poor. 70 cents of all those dollars go not to the poor, but those who serve poor people. They ask not which problems are solvable, but which ones are fundable. Then you have black elected officials, many of them were veterans of the civil rights movement, who then came into political office. They were the ones who were dispensing those funds. And listen to this. 2 out of 10 whites who with college degrees works for government. 6 out of 10 blacks with college education works for government, which means that the vast amount of money that has been spent on the poor that has produced and reinforced dependency have been administered by a lot of middle-class blacks who then elect those into office in those cities who continue this funding. And so as a consequence, over the past 50 years, if you look at the biggest income gap in America isn't between whites and blacks, but it's between lower income blacks and upper income blacks. And so the question, if that is true, then why are not, if racism is the culprit, then why are not all blacks suffering equally? And so that you have a lot of professional blacks are operating in a professional class whose careers depend upon having poor people to serve. It doesn't, and these are not ill-intentioned people. But they're talking about structural racism is structural inequality, which means that you got one class of blacks whose careers and future depends upon another group of blacks who are dependent. So that if your career as a professional service provider is dependent upon having dependent people to serve, what incentives do you have to promote independence among the class of people who are down and struggling for independence and self-sufficiency? You do not have one. And in some cases, the exploitation is even worse. I remember in